So here's a quick update. This is a 79 Spitfire that I've had for a few years. She's kind of been tucked away in a corner, ignored. And my son and I were tinkering on it for a little bit, and we finally got it resurrected where it's running again. I'm about ready to put her back on her feet and see if I can take it around the block. Because the previous owner had replaced the front brake calipers, the pads, I think even the flex lines. And obviously the fluid would have been purged and cleaned at that point. Not sure about the back brake system. We'll investigate that a little bit later. Okay, one of my goals this year was to have all the cars running that were on the ground level so that I could move them to high ground in the event of a hurricane. And this was kind of the last car that's been hanging me up. We had some issues here. Old fuel, this, that, and another. We had it running months and months ago, and then I kind of let it sit by the side. Anyway, when I went to try to start it again, there was no fuel in the bowl, so I assumed that the needle was stuck on the needle and seat, and tried tapping on it a couple of times. Sometimes it'll jar it loose, and then run some good fuel cleaner, system cleaner through the system. Sometimes it'll remove any little traces of varnish or gum deposits, but that didn't work. So then I went ahead and disconnected the fuel line. I turned on the key. Of course, it has an electric pump, which I'm going to change it back to a mechanical pump because I think I'm a little afraid of the electric pumps because they just keep squirting fuel if the engine shuts off. I had a bad experience with a fire years ago with that. Anyway, that being said, I wasn't getting any fuel, so what I should have done was taken my Mighty Vac on the line and sucked on it, but I didn't do that. Instead, I assumed it was the needle and the seat sticking, so I removed the carburetor. Then I removed the bottom of the float bowl down underneath here, which you can't really get to because of this heat shield in place. And checked out, the bowl of course was dry, and I was also able to remove the bottom plug here first. It's one of these spring-loaded ones that pulls down. And it was still dry, it smelled of old fuel. So I removed the carburetor, removed the bowl, and the needle and seat, nothing was stuck. It was functioning as it should. So I put it back together. Of course, it's a pain in the butt because you've got a 1/2 inch nut right there, and you got one 180 degrees apart from it down back in here. Anyway, you basically get 1/12 of a turn at a time with a combination wrench. It's tedious, but it can be done. And anyway, once I checked all that, then eventually I put the body back on there, and I start sucking the fuel out until I got what smelled like fresh fuel, because I put about a gallon of fresh fuel in the system. And then I assumed okay, and everything's gonna be okay. Well, it was getting late, so last night I walked away from it. And today I went ahead and tightened up the fasteners and attached a couple of hoses, and she started right up. And I'll show you how easy it was. Basically, you'll make sure that the choke is on just a little bit here, right there. It's going to need a full tune, from adjusting the valve latch to checking the ignition timing, check the spark plugs, maybe replace the wires, and of course all the items that you should do prior to doing any adjustments on the carburetor. And once I get that done, I can set the mixture and check everything out. But it doesn't sound too bad. It's running a little rough, but she has a lot of old fuel in her as well. Closing, prior to putting the car back on her feet, right now she's on these wheel dollies. I need to replace the right rear tire. I think that one's kind of seen its better days, but we've got another one here that we can bolt up. And once this is operational again, and shortly, which will hopefully be the next few days, then the next step is going to be focusing on that bad boy right there. That's the Spit 6 project. And what remains to be done is that car is going to be positioned over here in this position, so that I can continue with the disassembly of the front and rear suspension, and then take the frame over to a local sandblasting facility, and I'll bring it home, paint it, prime it, paint it, and start that project again. So in closing, I want to impart one pearl of wisdom. Get out in the garage, do something in your car, your toy, your sport car. Even if it's just 10 minutes, keep that momentum moving forward. 10 minutes a day translates into an hour a week. And who knows, maybe you'll spend more than 10, maybe you'll spend 20 or 30 minutes. But keep it fun. The minute you get aggravated with it, something gets frustrating, stop, walk away from it, return tomorrow.